Hello, friends, and welcome into the Cowboys Report presented by BetDSI, the internet's #1 sportsbook. I'm your host, Tom Downey, here to preview Cowboys vs. Texans, the battle for the state, and what kind of, sort of, maybe is a bit of a rivalry. A little bit one-sided, though, I think, overall. Cowboys at the Texans this week. It's a road game for the Cowboys. Houston favored by 3 points in this one. Because they're at home, that's how the spreads tend to work. Over-under, a little bit higher than it's been in recent weeks. It's actually 45 points. Sunday Night Football, which means everyone will be watching it. The Cowboys' offense was much better in Week 4. Byron Jones has been fantastic this year, an elite #1 cornerback in my eyes. The offensive line for Texans continues to struggle. The defense even hasn't been as good as expected. The winner of this game kind of gets back on track for a playoff run. The loser might be talking a little bit about their coach being on the hot seat. Now, you can bet on this game right now. Chatsports.com/bet. Use promo code Cowboys120 for a 120% deposit bonus to hook you up there. That's a fantastic deal. We'll get to my prediction later on in the show, but in the meantime, get your predictions in the comment section. Let me know who you got winning and what the score is going to be. I'll give you a hint. Don't know if you guys are going to end up liking my prediction this week, but once you guys get your score prediction in the comment section, DM me your score prediction on Twitter. First one to get it right, if there is one, there was no one who got it right last week, we'll give you $25. So score prediction in the comment section, then DM it to me on Twitter at WhatGoingDowney. If you get it right and you're the first one to get it right, we'll hook you up with $25. We'll take a little more of an in-depth look now here at some of the other key things to watch for in this game. We'll go through the offense, the defense, but we'll start things off with the injury report for the Dallas Cowboys. And Tank, Tavon, Cole, Heath, and Cheeto, they're going to be fine. They're all on the injury report. There isn't even a real probable tag anymore, but they're going to play. I expect them to be full participants by the time they get to the end of the week. They're going to be fine. I'm not concerned about them. These next 5 guys, though, I am concerned about. Terrence Williams has a foot off the field issue, hybrid, whatever the hell it is. He's questionable. I don't know if he's going to play. And if he's healthy, he might not play because he's done nothing all season long. Malik Collins and Antwaun Woods are both banged up. As of right now, I lean towards them playing, but I'm not quite set in stone on that one. Lee Frederick, I'm calling them out right now. If they're not going to play, they're just not ready yet. All right, some keys to the game. First up, no duh, you got to keep Zeke Elliott going. He has got to continue to be your #1 focus on offense, and he has to have success. That also equates to the offensive line, but for Zeke, this is a tougher matchup. The Lions' run defense is awful. It's the worst in the NFL. So it's not a surprise that Zeke went off, right? Houston's is better. J.J. Watt, Clowney, other guys. So the Cowboys have got to find a way to get Zeke going early and often, even if that means sprinkling in some plays. So, folks, how many rush yards will Zeke have this week? Let me know in the comment section. I'll put the over-under at 110. How about that? Seems fair? I think so. All right, part of keeping Zeke going means you extend drives, and part of that is, as we saw last week, give me the play action on early downs. It works. Defenses are so committed to stopping Zeke, and they have to be no matter what, that the play action will fool them. You can get easy passes on early downs. Do that, and then run it on second and third. That is how you have to keep the chains moving and stay ahead of them if you're the Cowboys, because we know that Cowboys offense struggles on 3rd and longs. All right, speaking of Zeke, I guess, the offensive line, you got to handle Watt, Clowney, and McKinney and all those other guys, and Merciless. You have got to open up holes on the ground, and you have got to protect Dak Prescott. Now, Joe Looney's been a pleasant surprise. Zach Martin, Tyron Smith are not clicking at quite the rate that I think that they can be. Overall, this offensive line, especially after last week, they're kind of at more of an above-average unit. They need to be elite. I think that offensive line will get there. They're not quite there yet. Hopefully that starts this week against the Houston Texans. All right, defense. You have to both pressure and contain Deshaun Watson. He is a dynamic, dual-threat quarterback, has had some accuracy problems this year, and even really dating back to last year as well. And this Texans offensive line has had issues. You can beat them. I expect Tank to have a massive game. But once you beat your tackle, you have got to make sure that you don't lose contain. And oh, by the way, spy Deshaun Watson. You didn't do it against the Seahawks. You didn't do it against Panthers. Spy the mobile quarterback. Jalen, a safety, LVE. Someone needs to always be on Deshaun Watson so if he does get out of the pocket, you can take him down quickly and not let him escape for a 10-yard gain on 3rd and 8. And then the secondary has got to step up. We'll talk more about this one later on in my key matchup, but this is a really good Texans receiving core. The secondary is also going to need to emerge and play well, or else you're going to be in trouble if you're the Cowboys, because you have got to find a way to slow down a potent Texans passing attack. Folks, we're trying to get to 5K subscribers on our Cowboys Report channel, so go subscribe today. YouTube.com/Dallas Cowboys Report. You see it right there at the bottom of your screen. All of our great Cowboys coverage all in one spot. Please and thank you to everyone who already has, and tell a friend too, because it's a great channel. All right, we'll go now to the Cowboys depth chart. Go from quarterback to special teams. Again, very few changes. Quarterback, it's not going to change. Dak, Rush, Mike White, it's the same. Dak is your starter. Rush is your backup. Mike White is your developmental guy who is a backup. Potentially down the road is very much still a very raw player. But as for Dak, how many passing yards will Dak have this week? He had a much better week in week 4. I'll put the over-under at 220.5. Over or under that, and I think that's about the right guess there for Dak Prescott. He's not going to air it out a ton. I hope not, because hopefully Zeke Elliott in this Cowboys ground game is also balling out. And again, don't freak out. You saw some stuff about how, Zeke's dealing with some knee injuries and his ankles, and he's kind of banged up. He's fine. He is a full participant in Wednesday's practice. He is going to be good to go. He is ready for another feasting this week against the Texans. Do not worry at all about Zeke's injuries. Receivers are kind of tricky. Cole Beasley, Hearns, and Gallup had the 3 most snaps last week. They all kind of rotated. Deontay Thompson was in there too. We know that Tavon's involved. I don't know if you'll see the Cowboys go to 6 receivers this week. We didn't see it last week, but Butler has another week. He brings you some deep threat. He's not going to be a number 2 receiver, but he can make some plays for you occasionally. T. Will, I don't even know what to do with him anymore. I'm about done and had it with Terrence Williams at this point. Tight ends, it's still Jeff Swaim as your number 1, Jarwin as your number 2, Rico as your number 3, but Rico did have a career high in snaps last week, so he's getting more playing time. Dalton Schultz, meanwhile, continues to be inactive. All right, to the offensive line, as mentioned before, no change in your starters. Maybe you'll see Su'a-Filo active this week. You continue to wait for Frederick to get healthy, but that doesn't seem to be happening anytime in the near future. Good edge rushers for the Texans, J.J. Watt, Clowney, Merciless. Key games for Smith and Collins. Plus, you can't ignore the interior guys, too. That's where Houston could attack with some blitzes. All right, folks, today's show is brought to you by BetDSI, the internet's number 1 sportsbook. Go to chatsports.com/bet and use promo code Cowboys120 for a 120% deposit bonus. You're playing with house money. They'll give you, if you put down $100, they'll give you $120 for free for a grand total of $220 to bet with on BetDSI if you go to chatsports.com/bet and use promo code Cowboys120. All right, on now to the defensive line, and I hope this defensive line thrives this week. Now, remember, Antwaun Woods is banged up. Lee Collins is banged up. I don't know if they'll play. I think that they will, but they might be limited a little bit. You get back David Irving. Taco and Gregory and Lawrence, in theory, should thrive against a bad Texans offensive line. So with that in mind, over or under 4 sacks for the Cowboys. That would be above their season average, but it's actually under the Texans season average so far this season. So let me know in the comment section. Maybe I'm just being optimistic, but I'll take the over on this one. I think you can get 5 sacks against a rather bad Texans offensive line, one of the worst in the entire NFL. They have the 2nd most sacks allowed this season. All right, to linebackers. I know some of you guys didn't like Leighton Vander Esch as a draft pick, but he's been pretty good for the Cowboys. I'm surprised because I knew he was athletic and talented. I didn't think he was going to be this good this quick. He is ahead of the curve as to where I thought he was going to be. Shanley, I don't think will play. So in nickel set, it's going to be Jalen Smith and Leighton Vander Esch. Those are your top 2 linebackers. Defensive backs, beyond Byron Jones, I thought had a bad week against the Detroit Lions. The Lions didn't even look at Byron Jones. They picked on Awuzie. They picked on Anthony Brown. Jordan Lewis played 1 snap and got burnt for a touchdown. Jeff Heath was inconsistent Jeff Heath. You need him to be better and healthy. You need Xavier Woods to start making some big plays as well. All right, special teams. Once again, no changes. Brett the Goat Maher, Money Maher remains at kicker. Chris Jones, LP, Thompson, Austin. No changes there yet. It's the same old special teams, and so far, they've actually been pretty solid. Speaking of solid, this Mizzen and Main shirt is way better than solid. It is the most comfortable thing you will ever own. Get one of your own at comfortable.af today. They're made in America. Trust me, folks, you're not going to have a more comfortable dress shirt. I sleep in this thing. That's how comfortable it is. All right, on to the key matchup this week. I'm focusing on the defensive backs versus the wide receivers, Cowboys and Texans respectively. I don't think you'll see Houston throw up Byron Jones much. Now, if I'm the Cowboys, they haven't done this much this year. I think it's time for Byron Jones to shadow and follow DeAndre Hopkins. I know the Cheeto's big too, but I fear Hopkins. I don't want Hopkins on Awuzie, and God forbid I don't want him on a slot corner either, in Anthony Brown. The Texans have 3 good receivers. Hopkins is a stud. Will Fuller can fly, and Kiki Cutie looked pretty darn good last week. That is a matchup that I think actually favors Houston. Cheeto has not been bad. He's had some bad luck against the Lions last week. They're going to focus on him, and I always worry about Anthony Brown, who's been pretty good this year, but had some struggles against the Lions, as too did Jordan Lewis. All right, folks, it is prediction time. What is your score prediction for Cowboys versus Texans? Let me know in the comments section, and then we'll get to some giveaway here as well. But I'll give you mine first, all right? And then producer Lena's as well. I got Houston winning 21-17. I'm sorry. It's the first time I picked against the Cowboys all season long. I don't trust them on the road. I don't believe in Houston. That's what kind of worries me. But I think Houston got something going last week. It's a road game. That's what I'm picking against the Cowboys. Lena has Dallas winning 31-17 in an absolute rout. I hope that's the case. I want the Cowboys to win, but I think you're going to see the constant up and down this year for the Cowboys because this coaching staff is just not good enough. All right, folks, I do have some Cowboys t-shirts and hats to give away, so DM me on Twitter at WhatGoingDowney if you want those details. All right, we choked up with one of our sponsors. Once we get to 20 that we've given away, one of you guys is getting Cowboys tickets. So DM me on Twitter at WhatGoingDowney, and we'll see you guys after the game with some Cowboys-Texans highlights.